My nerdy and fragile little brother introduced us to the woman of his life during a family dinner, but I was surprised when I discovered that she was a real hottie. So I made a $100 bet with my dad that I would clap her cheeks before he does. My little brother is a very kind person, maybe too kind. He is not like me and my dad. When he was born, we felt a separation between him and us, even though we loved activities like fishing, fighting, barbecues, and all those things men do together. My little brother, on the other hand, was more into fashion, video games, manga, and so on. Honestly, it annoyed me a bit. Deep down, I actually liked him, so I often protected him at school, but it turns out he was a very fragile person. However, he was very smart and got excellent grades in school. My dad and I would tease him a bit, but we actually liked him. He had never had a girlfriend, but since he did well in school, he quickly started earning a lot of money and taking on great responsibilities. As for me, I had several relationships, but they never lasted. I was not the type to commit to long-term relationships. I often talked about my best stories with my dad. When my little brother told me he had a girlfriend, I must admit I was quite surprised. I asked him if she was pretty, and he told me he would introduce her to me, my dad, and my mom at a family dinner and that he probably planned to marry her. I told him I was proud of him and hoped he would make it work. Time went by, I worked in my dad's garage while my little brother was in a computer company. After a few weeks, my little brother arrived on a Thursday evening with his partner. Everyone was shocked. Honestly, she was stunning, a real 10. I didn't know what to say to her. She was his first girlfriend, but she had a manipulative aura that, as an experienced man, I recognized. She wasn't the right girl for my little brother, I was sure of it. We ate and talked. It turned out she was studying law. He remained rather withdrawn during the meal. It went quite well, and they shared their wish to get married this year. When my little brother and his girlfriend left, I looked at my dad to ask if he had noticed the same thing as me. He nodded to show that he understood. That's when I told him, "Dad, I bet you $100 that I will win her over before you do." Obviously, my dad, who was a great gambler, decided to play along. We both understood that our little brother wouldn't end up with her. He was inexperienced and hadn't seen the cunning in this girl's eyes. My dad was a former military man, a former ladies' man. Despite his age, he was very handsome, but I didn't really believe in his chances. But he said he would give it a try. The following week, he invited this young girl to discuss her relationship with my little brother and see if she was a good person. In the end, they met. He told me that he could still sense a bit of mischief in her eyes, but she refused to drink and never deviated from the subject. He still gave me some information, like the neighborhood she lived in and the university she attended, which would make my task much easier. He also told me that she lived alone in a student apartment. Well, I knew what to do. You can now check if there's a part 2 by pressing share and more.